The question that was asked was, what should I do for 3 days following a minor muscle injury? And we're just gonna say from the get-go, I'm not a doctor of any kind. I'm not gonna pretend to be. So these are things that I would do for me following an injury. Lo and behold, I actually have one going on right now with my shoulder. So first things first, kinesio tape it. Why? Because kinesio tape helps with lymphatic drainage. If you have an injury, you're going to have swelling, and lymphatic drainage works on the principle of a myofascial lifting in order to increase the space of the it doesn't matter. Anyway, it helps with swelling. I am not a fan of taking ibuprofen or other anti-inflammatories. I don't like the idea of stopping inflammation. I like the idea of helping to decrease inflammation by natural processes. Now, I don't mean that I want to increase inflammation. What I mean is I want to promote the higher flow of the swelling through the area naturally. Hence, kinesio tape. Number 2, you should move. Movement is glorious. It promotes blood flow. Like, the lymph system, which gets rid of inflammation, is only able to do so with muscular contraction. So if you're not moving, then it's not getting out of there. Like, you just have to move. Plain and simple. Number 3, you can massage it. You should massage it. You should have some kind of soft tissue work. Anyone who says that you should not massage an injury within like the first 3 days because you want to allow it to go through that 72-hour inflammatory cycle, I'll be polite and say that I, on a professional level, disagree with them strongly. Why? Because there's lymphatic massage, there's superficial myofascial release, there's passive range of motion massage, and all of these things are incredibly gentle. They help to promote blood flow. They help to increase lymphatic drainage in an area, which is exactly what we're trying to do with both movement and with the kinesio tape. And the other thing that helps out with massage that is often used against it in a therapy setting, but somehow overlooked when it is actually important, is the fact that it works pretty well as an analgesic, or as a pain reliever. And if one of the things that we want to be able to do is to move, and we alleviate some of the pain associated with movement, now you have a higher quality movement that you're doing. I don't see that as in any way a bad thing, as long as the person is being smart about it and not suddenly feeling that they should go and do something far too advanced or aggressive for what the injury should allow. So for example, using myself, I hurt my shoulder 2 days ago. Why? Because I was doing some gymnastics. It's irritated. It's the delt. What did I do? Immediately, I have some kinesio tape on it. Okay, it feels a little bit better, especially today after it's been on there long enough to help out with the drainage. What did I do? I also added some movement on top of it that's specific to what I'm feeling in that area, knowing what little I do about exercise. I made sure that on a scale from 1 to 10, I didn't go above a 4 as far as the aggravation and what I'm doing. And then I've also been doing soft tissue work on myself. I'm going to continue doing soft tissue work on myself, and I'm making sure that as I'm going through that, I'm not being aggressive. I'm not scraping it. I'm not doing ART. I'm not doing deep tissue. I'm not cupping it. Now, there are ways that you could use cupping in this instance where it's not nearly as aggressive, and it does promote a crap ton of blood flow. That's a different conversation. And I'm not going to speak to dry needling. I think that you can do it in the first 72 hours. I am not allowed to do it. It's outside of my scope. I don't have a lot of experience other than having it done to me. So I won't speak on that part. You know, in that case, you're going to want to talk to a chiropractor or physical therapist and to get better information on that one. But I do know with what I am allowed to do, yeah, you can certainly do soft tissue work as long as you're being smart about it. That's what I would do. I don't like the idea of icing immediately unless you want to do like a hot-cold contrast in order to, you know, promote vascular dilation and constriction in order to, you know, again, once help out with the lymphatic drainage and additional blood flow. And, that's my principle going with it. And once you get out of the 3 days, I think that part is the more important part. Like, I want to test, I'll use myself again as an example. I want to test my shoulder to see what I can and can't do based on the exercises that are already programmed. So in this case, I'm referring to what you should be doing for those 3 days, like from an athletic standpoint. And it would carry over to the general population if you're going to be doing any kind of fitness as well. But you want to, as soon as you can, get back to what you were doing. That doesn't mean at the level that you were doing it, though. So there's nothing wrong with saying, like, okay, you have a slight strain in your right hip, and it hurts. If you were to do the programmed weight or the programmed percentage at the sets and reps that you have for back squat, does that mean that you can't squat? No, we just got to figure out where are you with your squats. It's like you find out, okay, I can do an empty barbell squat, no pain. Fantastic. So now we know immediately out of that first 72 hours what it feels like. Well, then everything from there is figuring out how much better it feels. And that's just common sense to me. Instead of saying, well, I'm going to take 3 weeks off and give it a chance to heal, like, it's going to heal in those 3 weeks, whether you're promoting additional healing or not, but you just have no idea how much. And so even if you weren't to do additional soft tissue work, even if you didn't do stretches or exercises, you didn't KT tape it, you didn't do anything in order to promote blood flow, lymphatic drainage, like, take all of that off the table and you're just like, I'm going to go all natural and I'm going to wait 3 weeks. Like, it's going to heal. But when you come back after 3 weeks and you try to go back to your programming and you say, I'm supposed to squat, say, 250 5 times. Well, it hurts when you do 250. All right. All that tells you is that you're not at 100%. You have no idea where you are underneath that because you didn't test it. But if the first day after those 72 hours, you go, okay, I'm going to figure out where I am with these exercises, and you realize I can barbell squat, empty barbell, no pain. The next week, all right, I can do 95 pounds. Awesome. Week after that, I'm at 135. Awesome. You're still keeping your sets and reps that you would for your regular programming. And by week 3, let's say you're at 185. That's not your programming weight. Like, you're well under what you were supposed to be doing if you hadn't been injured. But instead of going 3 weeks, not testing, not knowing how much you've healed, you now have a very good idea of how far away you are from where you wanted to be. And to me, that's way more valuable because, like I said, it's going to be healing on its own anyway. The movement is going to promote additional healing as long as you're smart about it. And then you add all these other things on top of it. Like, you can make amazing recovery in a very short amount of time if you're just going about very simple steps. Like, you're not going to get back to 100% overnight. Like, it still is going to take you like 5 or 6 weeks to have complete tissue healing. But if you were to look at it as a line of healing where you just didn't do anything and you just stayed away, like, literally going up a little better, a little better, a little better. Instead, if you're doing things to promote the healing and recovery process, it's going to jump really high to like an 80% recovery in like a week or two, and then it slowly finishes off over the next 4 to 5 to get back to where you were. As long as you don't get ahead of that, you can make a fantastic recovery really easily. But it's that day after the first 3, when you have that minor injury, that becomes really important to set the baseline on how the next several weeks are going to go.